Right now at noon, breaking new details just into the newsroom on that tragic shooting out of Florida.
Our entire nation, with one heavy heart, is praying for the victims and their families.
The president addressing the country less than an hour ago, just after authorities gave an update on that shooting. It happened at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. 17 people were killed. This morning, we learned that the assistant football coach at the school was one of the victims and also a hero. The football team tweeting how Coach Aaron Fayes selflessly shielded students from the gunman and that he will forever be in their hearts and their memories. The suspect has now been identified as 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, a former student at the school. We're told he was expelled from the school for his behavior. Today, he is behind bars, charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. Authorities in Broward County say Cruz could make a court appearance today. NBC's Chris Pallone is in Parkland, Florida, with the very latest on this investigation as a grieving community asks why this happened.
This morning, we're learning more about those harrowing minutes inside Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, when a former student armed with a semi-automatic rifle pulled a fire alarm and opened fire on unsuspecting teachers and students.
After I heard those 2 gunshots, then we started running, and then he came for our classroom. So he came after he shot those other 2 people.
Samantha Grady, a junior at the high school, describes the moments police say 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz opened fire into her classroom as she and her classmates hid.
The door was locked, thankfully, but he shot quite a few bullets into the glass, and it hit a few people behind me, and yeah, it was intense.
Responding SWAT teams discovered students barricaded in classrooms where they waited to be led to safety by law enforcement. Cruz, who police say was the lone gunman, was taken into custody about a mile from the school.
The suspect's been charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder, and law enforcement will do everything we can, the FBI, ourselves, to make sure that this person is convicted of all charges and that justice is served.
Today, President Trump addressed the nation.
Our entire nation, with one heavy heart, is praying for the victims and their families.
Now, another American community turns inward, looking to each other for support in the wake of the nation's latest mass shooting, as investigators work to understand why. The community is rallying around the families of those who were killed and injured in yesterday's attack. There will be at least 2 vigils for the victims here today. One will be at 2:35 p.m., marking 24 hours since the attack began. In Parkland, Florida, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Of course, this shooting affecting people across the country and stirring up conversation with local school districts. Dr. Clayton Wilcox, superintendent of CMS, issued a statement today that reads in part, "I want students, parents, and the community to know that each young person we are blessed to care for within CMS is our priority. Today and every day, their safety and security are our #1 goal." At a press conference moments ago, he told us in the event of the unthinkable, CMS is prepared.
In the event of the unthinkable, in a tragedy, we have done all that we can to be prepared for that moment. We have practiced lockdown drills. We've practiced active shooter drills. We continue to talk with our principals about what they might do should an event like this take place. And while you can never be fully prepared, I would say today that we in Charlotte-Mecklenburg are as prepared as you can be should something like this happen in our community.
In the wake of the shooting, Dr. Wilcox is also calling for more police presence and visibility at CMS schools. Now, as you can imagine, local parents reacting strongly to this tragedy out of Florida. As we just told you, 17 people lost their lives when that gunman opened fire on the high school campus. This was the scene yesterday as scared students and staff filed out of the school to safety. NBC Charlotte's Ariel Placencia spoke with parents here in our area. Ariel, I can only imagine parents have to be frightened when they hear stories like this.
For the most part, right?
Brooke, today is such a difficult day for parents. You know, I talked to some this afternoon who told me that the shooting in Florida is all they could think about when they dropped their kids off at school this morning. So even though that tragedy happened some 700 miles away from here, the impact is still felt so strongly in the heart of all the Charlotte area parents.
I was heartbroken just because I have I have a daughter.
It's unbelievable to me that it continues to happen in this country.
The sights and sounds coming out of Parkland, Florida are tough for parents across the country and right here in Charlotte, really anyone for that matter, to see and hear.
I can't even imagine how hard that is, and having to deal with something like that.
This is probably the most serious, most tragic example of someone who was just absolutely flashing.
Chris Swecker, a former assistant director of the FBI, tells NBC Charlotte schools need to organize and execute a system where people can report bizarre behavior that ultimately results in authorities taking immediate action.
Someone like this who really is flashing red, they need to know where to report it and how to report it, number one. Number two, there has to be a reaction, an assessment of that information and a reaction to that information, an intervention team, if you will, who can either get a restraining order and have him arrested.
And local parents agree, saying something has to change.
If you have a gun, there should be a new software on it that won't allow you to use in this particular situations.
Work with our political leaders to make our schools and, our community safer. This doesn't just happen in our schools.
And locally, chaplains with the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team went down to the scene last night. And Brooke, even more crews, even more chaplains are heading down to the Sunshine State today to help all of those cope with this terrible tragedy. Live for NBC Charlotte, I'm Ariel Placencia. Brooke, back to you.
Certainly hearts are broken across the country. Ariel, thank you. And of course, we are going to continue to follow all of the latest developments as they come in from Florida as investigators work to dig out more clues here. We're going to have coverage for you both on air and online at WCNC.com. But we do have other news we have to talk about today, including your forecast. I want to give you a live look outside right now from uptown Charlotte. It is warmer out there, so let's get over to Larry Sprinkle. And you're talking about temperatures reaching into the 70s today.
Yeah, really nice out there. Very spring-like weather. We take a look from our camera from the cotton factory looking towards downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina. You can see some mid to high level clouds out there. A nice day shaping up. We scanned the skies. We had a little bit of light rain very early this morning. Just a few spotty showers in the mountains at the current time. Check out the temperatures. Already 73 degrees at Wadesboro and Anson County, and 70 at Chester, South Carolina. Up in the mountains, low 60s at Boone and Jefferson. Shelby 67 right now. In the Queen City, 69 degrees. A beautiful day today with temperatures in the low, even mid-70s. Get to about 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock this afternoon, around 74 degrees. Even around 11 o'clock tonight, we are in the upper 60s. An indication of some more nice weather tomorrow, but some big changes ahead for the weekend. A lot cooler weather headed our way. We'll check all that and the 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Larry, thank you. The flu packing a punch across the Carolinas. The latest numbers in South Carolina, nothing short of staggering. It is now to blame for 22 deaths in the Palmetto State just this past week. That brings the total this season to 128 deaths in South Carolina. NBC Charlotte's Ruby Jerome joins us live from uptown Charlotte. And Ruby, it really is just hard to wrap your mind around this statistic.
Brooke, you're absolutely right, and the same story goes for here in North Carolina, which is why later today we're expected to get an updated number of flu fatalities for here so far this season in the Tar Heel State. The flu doesn't discriminate. Doctors say it's targeting everyone.
So this year, we're not exactly sure why this strain is causing so much morbidity and mortality. So illness to the patients a little bit more severe than what we're seeing.
Which is why schools are scrubbing, cleaning, and sanitizing so the virus doesn't spread among students. But in some parts of the Carolinas, the flu is so bad, it's putting the brakes on some school buses. In Lancaster County, so many bus drivers are sick, they're now facing a shortage, causing students to get home late from school.
The kids are sick, we're sick. We're trying to get your kids to school as best we can.
This is the 9th consecutive week of widespread activity.
The last severe season that we had, 56,000 Americans died from influenza. We may be on track to reach or even exceed that level.
According to the South Carolina report, one child aged 4 or younger has died from the flu this season, but the majority of deaths have been seen in ages 65 and older.
We're seeing a lot of problems primarily from respiratory-related illnesses, and so that's why the flu shot as a vaccine prevention is so important for these patients.
The vaccine takes about 2 weeks to build up the body's defenses against the virus. Doctors say it's not 100% effective in preventing individuals from getting the flu, but it does help decrease the effects of the flu. Again, new North Carolina numbers are expected to be released today to tell whether the flu is having more or less havoc here on the Tar Heel State. We'll keep you posted on air and online with what's to come. Live in Uptown, Ruby Durham, NBC Charlotte.
Ruby, thank you. New here at noon, the man accused of killing his 17-day-old daughter made his first court appearance today. 39-year-old Maurice Daniels was arrested earlier this week and charged with murder. Police say Daniels physically abused the baby, even breaking bones. Daniels has a lengthy criminal history. The little girl was found unresponsive late last week and later died at the hospital. He is scheduled for a probable cause hearing that will happen early next month. Governor Roy Cooper has made a decision about a controversial bill to cut classroom sizes. He says he's not going to sign it or veto it, and that means by default it will become law. Now, Governor Cooper says he's frustrated by the bill not because of the educational issues. He's upset because lawmakers tacked on irrelevant content to the bill, like a deal for the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, which he does not approve.
That is ridiculous. And part of the whole political strategy, it is just hard to believe that the class size mandate and pre-K is mixed up in all of this.
So here's what the bill means for you and your kids. Over the next 4 years, class sizes would change in kindergarten through third grade. It would also eliminate the state's preschool wait list. We're getting our first look at the newest high school coming to Fort Mill. Check this out. The Fort Mill School District proposed a rendering of what Catawba Ridge High School will look like when it opens in August of 2019. The preview gives a look at the campus, the cafeteria, and the gym. According to the Herald in Rock Hill, the school will be off Fort Mill Parkway, not too far from the Catawba River. It will be the third high school in the district. Now to the Winter Games in Pyeongchang, South Korea. After an extended wait, Team USA is golden in the mountains and looking for more medals tonight in primetime. Jay Gray is following all of it and has the very latest from inside Olympic Park.
Hey there, and good afternoon from Olympic Park, a place that's still buzzing after that great gold medal run by Michaela Schifrin in the giant slalom, and she nails it.
Gold for Michaela Schifrin in Pyeongchang.
She's got to turn around quickly, though. Not a lot of time to celebrate.
I'm trying to, get the emotions under control and focus again.
She'll be in the slalom this evening during prime time. Now, that's considered her best event, so look for perhaps 2 gold medals in 2 nights for Schifrin. It'll be fun to watch. Also, on the ice now, Nathan Chen making his debut in an individual competition in figure skating. Hasn't lost in international competition in more than a year.
Wow.
He really stumbled coming out for Team USA, the first skater on the Olympic ice in the team figure skating competition. He is still a gold medal contender as well. That's the latest from here in Pyeongchang. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
And let's take a look at the medal count right now. Norway leading with 17 medals. Germany has 15, Canada 13, the Netherlands with 12, and the U.S. rounds out the top 5 with 8. 5 of those medals are gold. Still ahead, moms of the games. At just 17 years old, Red Gerard is preparing to take to the slopes in Pyeongchang. We'll show you how his mom has helped him along his journey to the Olympics. And McDonald's making Happy Meals healthier, what they are chopping from the kids' menu. But first, smart devices causing concern.